As an ambassador for C3E, one of the highlights of the year for me is getting to read all the people's nominations, all the women's nominations that are submitted for these awards. The staff always apologizes, we're sending you this big bulk to read, but it's really inspiring. I love it, it's riveting to read about all the things that are being done by young women in our industries. But there's one thing better, and that's getting to present an award to an award winner. I'm very pleased to be here today to present the C3E Business Award to Shelee Kimura from Hawaiian Electric Company. For more than a decade, Shelley has been a leader dedicated to the betterment of Hawaii and protecting its environment through her work in Hawaiian electric industries. She's currently the Vice President of Corporate Planning and Business Development at Hawaiian Electric Company, a position she's been in since 2014. In this role, and this is a long list of the things that she does every day, in this role, she oversees strategic development and execution, renewable generation procurement and contract management, and grid technologies, including research, development, and demonstrations, primarily related to integrating renewables at high penetration levels in Hawaii. She also co-leads Hawaii Electric's pre-close merger integration efforts with NextEra Energy. One of the things that was particularly called out in her nomination is her work in leading the development of a comprehensive new community-wide energy plan for most of the state. The result, Hawaii Electric's 2030 vision for Hawaii's energy future and strategic transformation plan, includes achieving more than 60% renewables by 2030 while lowering the cost to the customers. And most of you know Hawaii has since mandated 100% by 2045, 100% renewables. Amazing. She led the establishment of the Hawaiian Electric Transformation Office with a portfolio of over a dozen strategic transformation initiatives. I have heard that word throughout the day, transformation. But she has led the establishment of a transformation office. That's pretty cool. Some of the initiatives that transformation office is undertaking includes a distributed energy resource initiative to triple distributed generation in Hawaii by 2030, a grid modernization initiative to integrate more renewables and enable more customer options, and a power supply initiative to implement the transition of Hawaii's power supply from centralized oil-fired generation to renewables with a diversified mix of both distributed and central resources. One of her colleagues at HECO says, almost everything that is remaking the energy landscape to be based on renewables instead of fossil fuels comes from the group that Shelley now leads. She's been called a tireless leader who is humble, intelligent, and grounded, a trailblazer with integrity, a colleague that values collaboration, and a community member that sees the betterment of Hawaii and preserving its natural resources as a personal mission. She is on a swift path to becoming one of Hawaii's great leaders, authentic, energized, and with a work ethic and outlook to ignite positive change. Shelley was born and raised in Hawaii, and her appreciation for the environment grew from her passion for dancing hula, but also for growing up hiking and exploring the valleys and swimming in the ocean of that beautiful state. In addition to her work, I can't believe she can fit anything else in, but she is a dedicated volunteer, engaged on boards in the community and several organizations that are important resources to the fabric of her local community. She is a mentor to youth, and she is a role model to all of us. Please join me in congratulating and thanking one of the new leaders that is transforming our energy economy. Shelley?
Thank you, Karen. Those are really kind words. I really appreciate that. Good afternoon, everyone. This is such an honor to be among all you amazing women who are making great strides for clean energy, for women, and ultimately for our planet and the generations to come. First, I'd like to thank C3E, the Department of Energy, MIT, Stanford, and CE3's esteemed ambassadors. Thank you for having the passion, dedication, and foresight to create this program and to nurture it. One that is based on the recognition that the ideas and talents of all members of society are essential to meeting our clean energy challenges. This philosophy is aligned with my belief that achieving a clean energy future will take many diverse parties working together in a concerted manner on many, many fronts. And the more that we can build the understanding, the networks, understanding the issues, the challenges, and the entire ecosystem, the better chance we have of achieving a clean energy future together. I'd like to thank 3 people in the audience that are here today. These people are champions of this philosophy and who have supported my career over the years. First is Alan Oshima, CEO of Hawaiian Electric. He also nominated me for this award and has been a great teacher and a progressive leader of our company. Connie Lau, she's the CEO of HEI, our parent company. She's a CE3 ambassador. She's also a role model as a leader, someone who's very comfortable in her own skin as a woman and who makes that a strength versus a barrier. And Creighton Liu, who's an important part of our team and always looking towards the bigger picture. And I also see another colleague here, Don Lippert, who was a winner last year, also from Hawaii, that I'd like to recognize. A handful of us have the privilege of representing Hawaii's clean energy efforts here today, but there are many. The accomplishments that have been mentioned are not done alone. So I accept this very, very special award on behalf of the thousands of women and men of Hawaiian Electric who work as a team to make transformative changes in our business so that we can become innovative leaders for Hawaii, innovative energy leaders for Hawaii, and empower our customers with affordable and reliable clean energy. And this is all on our path to 100% RPS. We do this alongside many in our state who are partners and leaders on this journey. Yes, we have our eye on the environment, but we are also focused on our state economy, energy security, and making sure that we're looking out for the best interests of all of our customers. As you already know, the energy ecosystem is rapidly changing and becoming ever more complex. Its markets, policy, business, regulation, technologies, and consumers. All are changing in parallel with many, many interdependencies, and we see that as very evident in Hawaii. Each of us can no longer look only at our piece of this complex and evolving puzzle, especially if we're to create sustainable businesses, meet our customers' needs, and achieve a clean energy future for all. In Hawaii, as we set our sights on 100% renewables, many are now recognizing the need to look at the entire energy ecosystem in a holistic manner to achieve multiple objectives. We all must work across organizations, align our interests toward a common vision of clean energy that is sustainable for society as a whole. This is why programs like C3E and the Clean Energy Ministerial are so important. And if I may be so bold to ask for your support on our path to 100% RPS, I think if we can do it in Hawaii, then that can be replicated in many other places. Before I close, I'd like to thank my family that's watching this across the ocean via online. Thank you to my husband, who is the bedrock of our family and who has always supported my career and encouraged me. Our friends and family, particularly our parents, for supporting us in the daily challenges of raising 3 amazing, wonderful children. And to my children, thank you for being my joy and daily inspiration to work towards a better Hawaii and maybe a small part towards a better world. Aloha, everyone.
Dr. Nicolette Fear has given her life's work to helping with climate change, education, and empowerment. And she's done a fantastic job at the University of Montana. She created an interdisciplinary climate change studies minor. She's also been active in the Women's Leadership Initiative at the University of Montana. So she's had an influence across the entire campus. I want to reiterate Melanie's point this morning about geographical diversity. It's really important that we engage our entire country and the entire world in really how we're going to address energy transformation. As Marilyn mentioned, for some states, the climate change, the climate plan is not that hard to achieve. But in some states, it will be. It will be challenging, it will affect families and towns, and it will be a big challenge. And so we need to engage all of that, and so having this geographic diversity is really important. I also wanted you to appreciate how hard it can be for academics who are at state schools when the legislatures are skeptic at best on climate change. So put yourself in Nikki's shoes of all that she's accomplished. Plus, she's an avid runner and cyclist. So she has taught a climate change studies class while taking her students cycling for 600 miles across Montana. Okay, other than the 600 miles part, which sounds a little daunting, who's interested in a bicycling class? Anyone wants to go do their, yes, I think we've got some folks. She's also done a cycling class where she's teaching climate change in Bhutan, and she's taught in Vietnam. So please join me in welcoming and congratulating Nikki Fear for our Education Award.
Great. Thank you so much, Britt. And Britt is in Montana, and I'll just say I'm really glad that you're in the red state with me in Montana. I want to also extend a thank you to the C3E ambassadors, to the folks at the Department of Energy, Stanford, and MIT for this collaborative initiative, putting women forward, for giving us this space, this time, and this exposure. I hadn't realized until recently how important it is for women to put other women forward. And given the ways that we can hold ourselves back, and also due to the biases that exist out there in terms of how we're evaluated. This last year, as Britt mentioned, I was part of a women's leadership initiative at the University of Montana. Our president, Royce Engstrom, put this forward, and it was led by Dina Mansour. We worked over the year to help us with our professional development. We met many women across Montana in leadership from all sectors, and we worked to try to shift the culture at our university to be more supportive of women in leadership. Little did I know a year ago that there was this initiative working to advance women in clean energy at the national and international level, and I couldn't be more thankful for being recognized for my work in education and empowerment. It's been a lifelong dedication of mine, so to be recognized in this way means a great deal to me. I've been an environmental educator for 20 years, and it was 10 years ago that I decided to shift my focus to be on climate change. Some of you may have read Elizabeth Colbert's book. It came out in 2007, Field Notes from a Catastrophe. And it really struck me when she wrote about how this is one of the few issues where the scientists are more alarmed about the issue than the public. And so I wanted to focus my ability to develop educational programs and to inspire students to work on climate change education, where it's particularly important in the state of Montana, where we can help to have our students understand and navigate this complex issue. And also through my doctoral work, I worked on creating structures to bring community members together to work on climate action strategies along multiple, with the multiple stakeholders. But 10 years ago, the first field course I led, Britt mentioned, was a course about energy and climate change. And given I came from a history of experiential education, it was a great challenge to think about how to teach this experientially. So I worked with my friend and colleague, Dave Morris, and we developed a 4-week course across Montana by bike, 600 miles. We started in coal country in eastern Montana, had students tour a coal-fired power plant and an oil refinery to show them where the bulk of our energy currently comes from. And then we moved across the rest of Montana, where you can see great examples of wind energy production, solar, biofuels, geothermal, all the while meeting with people who are deeply involved with producing energy and shaping our policies. We go through Helena to meet with policymakers, and then up the Rocky Mountain front to look at climate change on the ground, meeting with foresters, managing beetle-killed forests, ranchers dealing with drought, and through Glacier National Park, meeting with scientists studying melting glaciers. They also, the program manager at the time was Anna Tuttle, and I want to thank her because she was the one that nominated me for this award and worked also with Ashley Ballantyne and Leanna Shelvin. Anna's now with the Montana Institute on Ecosystems, and she's working on our very first Montana climate assessment. And she's been great at getting a lot of people involved in that initiative, including my students. Around 8 years ago, I worked with faculty at the University of Montana to develop a new curricular program in climate change. The task force that we pulled together included a climate scientist, Steve Running, and also an ethics professor, Dane Scott, and faculty members from 20 different departments. It was a great initiative, and we ended up with an interdisciplinary degree program that covers not only the science of climate change, but also societal dimensions, including ethics and policy and communications, and then solutions, getting students actively involved. I now direct the program and get students involved in climate change through internships, through field studies, both in Montana and Vietnam, and also through other practical experiences. A wonderful part for me is that we've been able to attract some of the best students at the University of Montana. In the last 6 years, we've had 6 Udall Scholars, 3 Truman Scholars, 2 Marshall Scholar finalists, and 1 Rhodes Scholar finalist coming out of the program. We've attracted a great diversity of students. This last spring, we had students from 14 different majors graduate from the program, everything from multiple science programs to journalism, political science, social work. And our alumni are working directly in the field now as policymakers, as educators, and as community organizers. One alum, Zach Brown, who was in Copenhagen in 2009, left my class for 2 weeks so he could go there, came back and realized that where he could make a difference was in local politics. He's now a state representative in the legislature. In his first session, he passed a bill, the Smart Building Initiative, to incentivize energy efficiency in our state buildings. Another alum, Becca Boslow, is an AmeriCorps worker. She's from Helena. She's working in Missoula with our Climate Smart initiative. She's helped me organize multiple community conversations to address climate action and is working on a lot of interesting projects locally. So the students in our climate change program have been smart, creative, courageous, and dedicated, and it's my honor to teach them and mentor them. After today, I'm really looking forward to connecting them with many of the new initiatives I've been learning about here. And then in closing, I really want to thank our provost, Perry Brown. This last year, we had really deep budget cuts at the University of Montana, a lot of people laid off, and frankly, the program was at risk, and he was the one that ensured that it's still in existence. So I'm motivated to continue to grow our program and to help empower the next generation to be leaders in this clean energy movement. And I will say that this award has already helped me on that path, so thank you.